Hi, my name's Laura and this is German Grammar Pod. In this episode we're going to look at genders in German and answer the question, what is gender? Like English, German has three genders into which it divides its nouns: masculine, feminine and neuter. However, unlike English, the way it doesn't follow natural gender. So, whereas English calls men and boys he, women and girls she, and inanimate objects it, German divides even its inanimate objects into masculine, feminine and neuter. You can tell this because it refers to its masculine nouns as he, its feminine nouns as sie, she, and only its neuter nouns as es, it. German also uses a different determiner, that's words such as a and an, the, this or my, depending on which gender the noun is. In addition, the gender of the word also has an impact on the endings of adjectives used in front of it. All this is pretty normal for a European language. Polish also has masculine, feminine and neuter. French has masculine and feminine, and Dutch has common gender and neuter. It is in fact English which is the unusual language, having only natural genders and seeing all objects as neuter or its. In fact, English has lost its grammatical genders rather than having developed without them. Old English, also known as Anglo-Saxon, used to assign genders to its words, but this was gradually lost over time. It may be easier to understand gender if, instead of thinking of it as a word meaning sex, you think of it as a word meaning type, which was its original meaning. So, instead of German having three sexes of words, it has three types of word, each of which type has a different effect on the words around it. How this might have come about is possibly easier to understand if instead of looking at German, we look for a minute at Polish. Like German, Polish also has three genders: masculine, feminine and neuter. But unlike German, most Polish nouns have an ending which tells you which category or gender they fall into. The vast majority of Polish feminine nouns end in an A. Polish masculine nouns generally end in a consonant, and Polish neuter nouns in an O. It's a much smaller leap to see why words that all have a common end sound should all have a similar effect on the words you use in conjunction with them. A similar effect can be seen in English, where words can be divided into those which start with a vowel sound and those that don't. Before words that don't start with a vowel sound, we use the word a, e.g. a banana, a rabbit, a visit. Before words that start with a vowel sound, we use the word an instead, so an egg, an ogre, an interest. The big difference with languages that use genders is that it's always the noun that has a gender and therefore affects the words around it, whereas with my example about a and an, it's the word that comes immediately after a or an that has the effect. So although you would say an elephant or a bin, if you inserted an adjective, that would be the word which determined which one you used. So you would say a grey elephant or an upturned bin instead of an grey elephant or a upturned bin. Another difference is that not all languages with genders show what gender most words are by their sound. Unfortunately for learners of German, German is one of those languages. In fact, not only can you not tell which gender most German words are by what they sound like, you can't tell their gender from being fluent in another language which uses genders either. Not only does German not necessarily have the same number of genders as other languages. If you remember at the start of this podcast, I said that French only has masculine and feminine genders, and that Dutch has neuter together with a gender called common gender, which combines masculine and feminine. But the genders of individual words frequently don't match up between languages, having been allocated differently in different languages. The most commonly cited example of this is the sun and the moon in French and German. In French, moon is a feminine word and sun masculine. In German, on the other hand, it's just the other way round. So, to sum up, unlike English, German and most other languages don't use natural genders, where nouns describing males are masculine, nouns describing females are feminine, but all other nouns are neuter. German's three genders, masculine, feminine and neuter, are all used for inanimate objects, such as bananas, the sun or the moon. This means that while the neuter inanimate objects are referred to as es, it, masculine inanimate objects are actually referred to as he, er, and feminine inanimate objects are referred to as sie, she. German also uses different determiners, that's words like the and a, for each of its three genders. When thinking about genders in language, it's probably easiest to understand them by thinking of gender not as meaning sex, but as meaning type or category. Thus, German has three types of word that each need a different form of each determiner in front of them, and which require you to refer to them using er, sie or es, depending on the gender, rather than just using it, es, for all inanimate objects, like we do in English. Well, that's it for this time. If you'd like to see a transcript of this episode, you can visit my website at sites.google.com/site/GermanGrammarPod. If you'd like, you can contact me on germangrammarpod@yahoo.co.uk. You can also subscribe to the German Grammar Pod podcast that these videos originated from through iTunes, or by visiting germangrammarpod.blogspot.com. In my next episode, How Do I Know Which Gender to Use?, I'll be giving you some tips and tricks to help you work out or guess the genders of German words. But for now, it's goodbye from German Grammar Pod. I hope you enjoyed the episode and that you'll listen again next time. Goodbye!